We are joined with Dr. Katz, who I'll have up here shortly onto the camera, Peter and myself.
Boy, you guys got backgrounds. I'm going to have to come up with something. That's pretty intense stuff.
You've got the background of wherever you are. Just realized
wherever you are, that's always good.
You are where you are. Anyways, yeah, I'm just waiting for DocU to go down. We'll see what happens there. AMD is still upsetting me, but anyways, that's all right. Didn't harm me. Chris is getting the move on Macy's. Is that is this low of day? No, it's not. No low of day.
A headline from Chinese state media that China will further cut holdings of U.S. Treasuries from current level above $1 trillion to about $800 billion.
And we will be shutting Benzinga off for everybody, just so you know.
That was an interesting announcement. China's going
to
cut holdings from above $1 trillion to under $800 billion. How are they going to do that? Who are they going to sell it to? Somebody with some other country, I guess. Well, the Fed has to have money to buy it back, and the only way the Fed has money is to borrow money. So basically some other country is going to have to fund it.
Yeah.
Well, or you risk printing a couple $1 billion, which is a couple $100 billion, which is problematic because that leads to dilution of the currency. But anyways, I guess we'll find out.
I'm just wondering why I have Peter up here instead of Dr. Katz.
Blame on it.
I don't know. I hit enable webcam.
Don't forget, guys, to put your questions into the chat. So get your questions in there for Dr. Katz. As always, he's very generous in his time and responding to your questions. So we've been talking a lot about psychology and in the last couple of days, guys. So I can't imagine you don't have questions from. That was a good double negative. Anyways, from the conversation that we've had about how to manage yourself and to manage the whack-a-mole challenges that can sometimes happen in trading. Dr. Katz, I was sharing some of my stories with the team, how I'm playing a game of whack-a-mole because when I fix one problem, I lose focus on a different area, and then I do a little backslide in my maturity to maintain that skill set. And I find it fascinating how I seem to be unable to keep all of the balls in the air at the same time, right? So there's always one that's falling on me. But what can you do? All right.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say sometimes you have to then assess how many plates can you have spinning in your hands at one time. And that varies, right, depending on the kind of time and energy demands of each of the plates that is spinning. But sometimes, less is more, as they say, as profound as that statement is.
Well, I find it hard. There's a number of skills you need to exercise at the same time to be successful at trading. So if I could figure out one not to do, I will do that. I'll have to think about that. First question, there's a statement from No Whammies at 3:31, Dr. Katz, if you didn't see it. And then the first question is a minute later, Positive Vibes.
About the book.
Yeah.
Maybe I could just talk for a second about that. Yes. So a couple of people have written in, as I see, about a new book that is out by actually very interesting, a writer turned psychologist turned poker player, Maria Kordakova, called The Biggest Bluff. I found it fascinating. I am not a poker player, but I've always enjoyed reading books on poker, and Rounders is one of my favorite movies. But this is particularly interesting because this woman's a writer, so she's a very good writer. And as a recently kind of PhD psychologist, she then set off, without giving too much details, on trying to learn and master poker. But the book is fascinating because there is so much similarities between trading and poker. And she is the person who has best kind of really addressed some of the psychological and emotional variables associated with poker. But you see some of the incredible similarities between poker and trading. So I think it's a highly entertaining and fascinating book by itself. But if you're a trader, I just think it's a great read, and it's a good way to kind of spend time away from the the trading day when the trading day is over, because it is really great entertainment value. But I think will offer some great insight about that. And yeah, so there's some wonderful things in the book, and maybe over time we'll address some of them. But I highly recommend it, and I see some people in the chat when I mentioned it, maybe during a Mindful Monday segment I did, they went out and got it. So I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I receive no kickbacks or royalties on my book suggestions.
Excellent. All right, well, let's move to some of the questions then. I like Positive Vibes question there, asking you if you tend to be long or short bias, how do you change that bias?
Actually, the first step is one that it sounds like you've already taken, which is recognizing one's own bias. I think, we all have bias out in the outside world, in the trading world. They're not inherently problematic, although they can be problematic. But I think the first step is kind of acknowledging where your biases are, because that could provide a rationale of avoiding certain kinds of trades that might be beneficial to you. And often we have a bias towards things that make us feel more comfortable, things where we might feel like our skill level is higher. So I think, one of the ways of kind of exploring your trading playbook is to start trying to address areas that are a little newer to you, a little more uncomfortable. So there's no magic way. I think the recognition of why that bias is there, and then slowly trying to learn more, become a little more comfortable, often through reading, research, and preparation in terms of the kinds of trades, long or short, that tend to have you become a little more concerned about.
Oh, I was on mute. Excellent. Nona Runs has got the next question here, Dr. Katz, again at 3:32. How do you maintain a view of the forest when we look very closely at the trees in day trading? Good old analogy there.
Yeah, I think one of the best ways of kind of not falling into that trap is a lot of the work you can do outside of the trading day. It's very important to get a perspective on trading. Not only, in the moment, people's emotional volatility varies greatly depending on how they're trading in the moment. And it's really important each day to kind of not take stock of the whole day, and then the week, and then the month. And this is why there's no substitute for traders getting the reps in. The more trades you see, the more days you've traded, the more months and years you've traded, you have a greater appreciation for the natural flow, ebb and flow volatility of your own P&L and your own trading ability. And one of the worst things that can happen, both even when things are going well, but especially when things go poorly, is kind of to have this kind of very narrow-minded, closed mindset view that this is all that's happening. Sometimes I think one needs to step back if you're caught in the middle of the day with having a hard time seeing the whole forest, is to step back, maybe take a little bit of a break, kind of reset, think through like the aggregate of what's gone on, not just in this moment if you've hit a rough streak, but really kind of take a bigger, kind of more open-minded view of your trading experience. And this is the kind of thing that you can mentally prepare for and kind of do some mental rehearsal and visualization during non-trading hours so that you could bring that back to you if you hit a moment, a stumbling block like that during the trading day.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Katz. Jimenez has a good question. I'm sure we've all made a big mistake at some point in our trading career, whether we want to admit it or not. I'm sure we have. How can you help get yourself past that? Especially if you've been thinking about it for a couple of days.
So, yeah, listen, I think there's two things. When you make a big mistake, it should feel badly. I mean, because actually that's Again, one of the hallmarks of high performers, this is true in trading and athletics, as I've said before, is that the losses tend to be far more painful than the wins are pleasurable. So but you've got to differentiate between the pain of making a mistake or losing and the tendency for some people to ruminate about that, beat themselves up, a lot of negative self-talk, self-judgment. That kind of style and approach really uses up a lot of time, a lot of energy, undermines your sense of self-worth, and actually, most importantly, doesn't help you get better. The key is, as hard as it is when you've had a big mistake, is really to try to identify what the mistake was, even if it seems like it's really atrocious or egregious, is to really just learn from it, try to identify and to see what you can do regarding corrective actions in future trades. This is why very often athletic teams or athletes, but traders as well, you can learn often so much more from your losses than you are for your wins, because there's a tendency for us to kind of think through, look at, ruminate, contemplate our losses. When we have a good trade, often we just let it go and on to the next one. And that's why I often encourage people to make sure that they really identify their good trades, because there's aspects in those trades that you want to reinforce and continue and build upon. So again, try to kind of nip it in the bud if you find yourself just beating yourself up and using up valuable time and energy, and try to instead identify things that are corrective actions you can take and try to view it more as a kind of learning opportunity, as difficult as that is in the moment.
Yes, difficult in the moment for sure, and definitely difficult when you shut down your screen and have to try to go and figure all that stuff out after hours, for sure. What about?
Mike,
oh yeah,
Mike. Let me just say one thing about that. Again, I brought this up a little. Here's the problem with things like that for people. In this, again, as I mentioned before, I think on a Monday morning, again, we live in this Instagram world where people are posting their best trades for the most part, or their best meals, or their best, how beautiful or handsome they look. People are not often posting these kinds of big losses or really painful, mistake-ridden trades. Just be sure to know that everybody experiences that. This is a kind of an integral and inherent part of the trading process. This is why I encourage all of you in the BBT community to kind of, try to talk to other people, share some of these war stories, so to speak, because what you will find out is other people have gone through the same thing. They may have suggestions on how to manage them. And I'm not saying that misery loves company only when the company is miserable, but it is good to know that other people experience this. And very often people only talk about their successes or the highlights in their life. And it gives a skewed and really unfair view of people's overall experiences in trading and life overall.
yes, that is true. I think you had a discussion of that, didn't you, Peter, earlier today?
Yeah, not exactly, but close. You're right. How anyways, we had a similar discussion earlier today. You're correct.
Yes, it can be frustrating when you look at everybody and just everybody wants to put on their best outfit, going out the door, and they don't want to show you what it's really about. So, a question for you, Dr. Katz. What is the best way to try to get rid of something that is causing you emotional anxiety, especially now with Twitter and email and all these social media apps? It seems like people are having a hard time from just disconnecting from that because it's attached to their phone. And that can bleed into their trading if they're checking it before the market opens. What is good ways to try to get rid of that sensation?
So we're talking about social media now, not your relationship with Peter, right? You're not trying to kind of break up with him, right? Okay, I just want to be sure. Okay, just
What?
no.
You're throwing me under the bus there, Doctor.
No, I'm not. I'm just questioning this. I just want to make sure that I'm answering Mike's question, and he's not doing like The old, I have a friend who has this question kind of thing. You know that whole move. Okay. Yeah. Back to the serious question. Yes. Again, social media is very hard on this because, it's sometimes an all or none thing. You get the good with the bad. I would say that I do think at times in people's lives, taking a social media holiday is good, and a break. Much like kind of people's vacation time. If you're finding that you're at a particularly vulnerable period with your trading, and that the more you check things, kind of the more that adds to some of the discomfort and difficulties you're going through, it's a pros versus cons, cost benefit kind of thing. And sometimes taking a break from that kind of comparative thing is the most helpful, even though there'll be a strong pull to continue to look at that. So again, usually letting go of certain things is not the easiest, because it's not just like binary in that it just doesn't feel like it's totally good or totally bad. But sometimes taking a break is a helpful thing, just to kind of clear your head and get you kind of emotionally reset. So you don't because the tendency is when we feel bad, we tend to look at the things that other people are doing that are doing better than us, and that actually adds to how poorly we are feeling.
Yes, definitely. So Carlos R, a longtime member, has a good question. Any tips for him to control that overtrading urge? He loses his control and he just continues to take trades that are outside of his edge.
So one of the things I would say, Carlos, is this is where reviewing your journaling is very important, because overtrading, as Mike and I have talked about a few times during some of the webinars, can be triggered by a number of emotional variables, or sometimes greed, sometimes anxiety, sometimes FOMO, a whole bunch of things. And I think what's really important, and this is where people's individual personality styles and individual trading styles, which are often connected to their individual personality styles, is really important to identify. Because generally, each person has certain triggers which leads to overtrading. And if you can look at, for you, what tends to trigger the overtrading, that level of awareness, although insight doesn't necessarily lead to behavior change, you need to have some insight and awareness in order to change things. So the first step I would take is to look at what the triggers tend to be. And let's just say losses tend to, lead to overtrading for you, which is not uncommon for people, because then people revenge trade to try to get back. What that means is that, again, you need to start each day, and maybe in the evening during your quiet moments, kind of review in your mind and prepare yourself mentally that if you have a series of losses in a row, that could be a catalyst and a trigger for you to overtrade. And so you may even want, during the trading day, to have a little visual reminder, be mindful if I have some losses that could really lead me to overtrading. So one of the things that could be helpful if that happens in real time is just to take a little break, step away, kind of have that reminder, kind of, again, reset yourself emotionally so that you don't come back to the screen and force trades because you're upset and ticked off because you just had a series of losses. Again, so the identification of what is triggering it is the first step for most traders that can help to kind of take some corrective action with overtrading.
Would the answer be the same, Doctor, if it was the opposite problem? I've got this friend that undertrades.
Yeah.
And
that would be me.
His reaction is to retreat. So rather than, you're right, because people tend to revenge trade, but there's the other side where they tend to retreat and get afraid to take more trades.
Good point. Approach. So that often, right, that happens. People can react right on both opposite ends of the spectrum. This is why I was saying, good point, Peter, that knowing your personality. Let's say Peter is somebody who tends to be more active and he responds to the losses by wanting to trade more. Say I'm somebody who might be a little more insecure, or my self-confidence could be a little more fragile. Losses could lead me to kind of be playing off my back foot and missing opportunities, being tentative. So this is where, again, it's really important to know yourself, know your tendencies, because extremes on both ends are going to be, a disservice for you. So that's a good point, Peter. And this is your own awareness of what the emotional triggers are for you and how they get played out.
For my friend.
Yeah, for your friend.
I thought you were talking about me for a minute, Peter.
Did you? Well, actually, no.
I use. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Doctor. I was going to say, I would categorize, so Mike hasn't traded today, right? He hasn't taken a trade today, but I would actually say that's strong discipline, because I didn't see many setups for what you're looking for. And if you didn't and managed not to trade, that's a level of discipline that many of us, frankly, just never achieve. So you should actually be proud of the fact that you didn't trade today, in my humble opinion.
I am proud that I didn't trade, because I could have tried to force, because I came in with the plan that I was only going to trade breakouts of high of the day to finish out my sample set. I didn't want to take any low of the days. I didn't want to take anything. And as everybody can see from the market today, it is a low of the day, sell-off day. And so I could have easily have changed that mid stride through the day, but I said I'm going to stick with it.
And so this is where it's really important for people listening out there, because Mike's discipline, it's really important this is why discipline is so important. You stick to kind of what your plan is, even in the throes of maybe some other kinds of opportunity. And it just reinforces what Mike's done. And it's only going to make somebody like Mike be even more disciplined next time. When people have asked me questions in past Thursdays about how do you build discipline and grow discipline, discipline can build upon discipline. Mike had a disciplined approach, as Peter said, stuck to his guns, and he got rewarded for it, because he would have gotten in harm's way today if he had traded differently. And so that's really important when you're trying to build discipline, is to see how when you follow through on a plan and it works, it just gives you more confidence and comfort the next time around to follow through on your plan.
Yes, it does. I completely agree with that, because if I would have broken my plan, taken a trade, and it did not work, it would have been a miserable weekend. If I would have taken a trade and it worked, it still would have been miserable, because I would have reflected back and been like, man, I broke what I wanted to do. This is not a method for setting yourself up for success. So I'm happy with what I did.
Yes, so, well done.
So with that,
okay, very good, guys. Always good seeing you, and to everybody else, have a good finishing to the week. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Have a good long weekend.
I know it's only Thursday, but so today's member trade of the day goes to, as it's slowly pulling up, Jason today for his trade on, I can't even see it on there. I forgot. Cat. It's Cat. So one stock that was not on our actual watch list, but he made money on this both to the long side during the push up this morning, and then made it to the short side when it failed. So had a long ABCD pattern. It broke, took a long position, partialed up to the top, got near the high of the day, exited out at break even. And as I look at that, it looks like a nice setup for a mountain pass strategy that's there. After he gets out, he gets back in after the market goes short, loses VWAP, holds on, gets out a couple times, understands that his partial is too short, and then decides to get back in near the pre-market low, adding to his shares, and then takes some more partials on the way down. So there's actually 3 trades here if you look at it. So excellent job managing the trade and fighting through the what could we describe today's market as? Frenzy almost.
Frenetic.
It was there. But one interesting thing that I wanted to point out is, if I'm not sure, can you all see that? Oh yeah, you can see the pointer there. Right here, my scanner actually picked up this cat trade as a pullback off the high of the day. And that's been kind of a little unintentional consequence, or not consequence, but unintentional benefit that I've noticed, is that if it fails to break that high of the day, it typically will start to set up for that mountain pass strategy. So I've actually found 2 uses for that scanner. And that's how I identified IBM this morning to you, Peter.
Yeah, I appreciate it, actually, you mentioning that, even though I missed the opportunity. It was a perfect point out, so it would have been a great trade.
So for everybody out on YouTube and everybody in the room, so a little change, sorry, got the earnings up there, a little change from previous weeks. So tomorrow we will still have a members trade of the day. So the members trade of the week will be released on Monday. That way we get Monday through Friday. So submit your trade. It's for tomorrow as well to the same, and you'll still be eligible for the giveaway. Mark up that post, tag @AirBullTraders, @MikeB_BBT, and @NormBBT. Put the hashtag BBT family, day trading, and stock market on there. And we'll announce the winner on Monday. You will end up having to share a trade book. You will have to do a recap. If you do not have DAS replay, if you are selected as the winner, we will be able to provide you with access to a replay simulator so that you can create that video for us. We'll also ask you for a picture of your trading station. Don't worry, you don't have to have the super high fancy computer gaming station. As a matter of fact, I do enjoy the trading stations that are a MacBook and 1 or 2 screens, because that's truly all that you really need. And then for webinars, are you in a trade, Peter? I can cover this if you're managing a trade right now.
No, I am out of everything. I got stopped out of DocuSign. I was just getting some journal stuff ready. So, yes, webinars this week. We had a great webinar last night by Eamon. It's already posted in the Success Webinars part of our website. So go check that out if you missed it live, or if you want to watch it again. He did a great job of explaining the extreme reversals, what it looks like to him, and how he trades them different from some of his other reversal patterns. Keep in mind that reversal patterns are great because they can lead to other setups. And he mentioned it in his webinar. For instance, my Mountain Pass is a trend reversal pattern. So you can use some of what Eamon's teaching as an early intro to other patterns if it doesn't set up the way you'd expect for this one. That being said, we're going to change tacks next week and watch and do something a little different. So next Wednesday at the usual time of 8 o'clock, we're going to be talking about how to trade IPOs. I've got some very specific rules on how to trade IPOs. We'll talk about how to take an initial trade on an IPO, or if it doesn't set up the way we like, what you can do then if you're watching it thereafter. So we'll go into a little background about what an IPO is, what to look for, and then how to trade them. So that will be next Wednesday, September the 9th at 8 p.m.
We had Dr. Reed, who did an introduction to trader personality. That's up. If you took the profile and you did not get your numbers, that's because we are so powerful that we crashed the server. I contacted Dr. Reed. They're in the process of fixing it. So I will let everybody know when it's fixed so that you can go back in and you can get your values for the 5 different trader personality types that he talked about. Next week, we will have Creta at 5 p.m. Eastern to go into self-reflection and facing your deepest fears and insecurity. Highly encourage you to go to that. She'll have some great exercises that you can do to clearly identify ways with that. For everybody out on YouTube, Interested in joining Barrel Traders, you can join with Pre-Market 24. It'll give you access to our onboarding class. Since next Monday, there will be no trading. That class will go on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, since we have CRADA at 5 p.m. Eastern in the webinar. And if you'd like a discount to upgrade your membership or purchase a one-time lifetime membership, you can use code LABOR35. And that would be the close of the show.
That was the bell. That was the closing bell for the market.
The bell?
Hey, Brian.
The bell.
Hey. Docu is up, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, Docu.
Had a nice short on Rocket yesterday. Had a nice short on Rocket on the aftermarket there. Yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Did you? You traded Rocket in the aftermarket? Wow, look at you.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, it really sold off nicely.
Fellow. Yeah,
I did
Docu stopped me out.
I did set a. I did cover it on the early side, but still got a nice move on it. Well, that was quite the reversal day. We were well overdue for a pullback like this.
Indeed.
Could we? It's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow I think will be interesting, Brian, because it's also I expect it to be a relatively low volume day.
Yeah, going into a long weekend. Yeah.
Exactly. So, it'll be interesting to see if we get some continuation here, and we might like normally I should say it'll be a low volume day. However, with the big sell-off today, we may see a little more activity than we normally expect. So, I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, once the pre-market happens and then the markets opens.
So we didn't go out exactly on the low of the day. We did get a bit of a bounce at the end of the day here. The IWM is looking pretty ugly the way it went out.
Reminder that an important data point will be out tomorrow morning. Non-farm payrolls figure for August. Economists
they all went out pretty close to the lows of the day.
Job gain for non-farm figures.
SPY is coming
Private
back
sector
to this
figures,
20 moving average,
million
which
job
has
gain.
been support before.
And
the
unemployment rate expected to fall to.
Oh my goodness. All right, we're waiting on Docu and Broadcom's a little bit later, a quarter after. Though Broadcom.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say Broadcom. We don't normally see a lot of action. If I remember, Broadcom is it a NYSE Geo? No, it's a Nasdaq stock. I don't know. I don't think Broadcom's good. Well, who knows? But shouldn't predict.
Got a really nice move out of the VXX today.
Oh yeah, you were in that, weren't you, Brian?
Yeah, I was. It was giving you a tell there. When the markets were still going higher and the VIX was starting to move up, that was a red flag for sure.
Yes, you would have got a great move on VXX today. Was it a big one? I didn't.
Well, what was my my entry on that was around 28, so I got up to 33.
Oh. That's a good move.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. You were Dan. You nice. Yeah. Oh, Jared's in there buying spreads, selling spreads.
Jared's having all kinds of fun today.
Yeah.
He's got to be a player.
Well, I think, obviously anything that's been strong, anything that's been leading this market higher, I would say is probably something you should be keeping your eyes on, because when we do, when the market turns back again, those are the ones that have been strong will be the ones that will be strong again. So the Apples, don't be surprised if Tesla turns at some point and goes higher again. Anything tech, Peloton,
DocuSign ticker
DraftKings is another one.
DOCU. Q2 earnings out, adjusted earnings. Looks like 17 cents here on DocuSign. Analysts had been expecting 8 cents.
Painful.
Sales
So
coming in
painful when you go back and review the
342.2
trades.
million. Analysts
DocuSign's
looking
reporting.
for under 320 million.
Yeah, it looks
Better
like
than
it,
expected
looks
results
like
out
it's
of DocuSign ticker
had some good numbers.
DOCU. Shares are moving higher here, up about $20 after hours. Ticker DOCU.
Yeah. Beat by, it had earnings per share at 17. It was expected at 8 cents, so it almost doubled. Didn't hear the sales revenue on it. Yes, John, there it is.
With some Q3 guidance, Q3 sales expected 358 million to 362 million, analysts at 335 million.
And it
DocuSign
beats
out with a Q2 beat and also some better than expected guidance, ticker DOCU.
And it beat sales by about 24 million. Subscription revenue was 326 million for DocuSign.
Well, price just jumped $15, so there you go.
Yeah. There's that move we were looking for, John, that we wanted to happen during the market hours.
Did either of you guys trade
Tilly's
CIEN
ticker
this morning? That was just
TLYS
a killer
reporting Q2 EPS
No,
18 cents.
I didn't end up
No.
trading it all
Looking for a
day.
loss there
I know some in
out
the
of
room
Tilly's.
did, but I did not.
Sales
Oh,
coming
nice,
in
Jared.
at 135.8
Good one,
million.
Nick.
Analysts were looking for
That was
about 131 million out of
set up
Tilly's.
beautifully.
Ticker TLYS. Shares indicated higher, now
CIEN.
moving higher. 745 last trade in ticker
I could have just
TLYS.
done a one and done for the day. Could have just folded the computer and gone home after that one, or gone back to bed.
Was it CIEN?
Mm-hmm. Just tanked at the open.
Mm.
I got in, and I ended up getting in. Actually, I've been taking these trades.
Smith
I've
and
been
Wesson,
taking
ticker
positions before
SWBI. Shares
in the
volatile
pre-market.
here. Company
If they look
Q1
really
earnings
weak.
out, adjusted.
Sometimes they're just not even bouncing it, and they're not just giving you that little pop up before they sell off. They're just going into their sell off mode.
Yeah.
Nice, Chad.
Nice little pullback on Docu.
Nice.
Got some decent volume. I mean, it's 69,000 shares in the aftermarket. Pushing it up on that one volume candle.
I wonder if this is going to be like like this crowd, the crowd, the CRWD trade and the Cloudera. I wonder if it's going to be like great numbers, but okay. Now we sell.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody expected more.
Or that was what they expected and they got it, and now we're gonna take profits. Because I think like this one, like everything else, has just run up so much into the we're like a huge day on Tuesday, gap up, big move higher. So we gapped up on Tuesday because of probably something else, right?
It was
company.
Zoom. Wasn't it Zoom that
Zoom
reported?
That's what it was. Yeah.
It blew away earnings. Like they weren't even close.
Yeah. Oh, is that Tesla selling off again?
Look at Tesla.
Well, Peter, did you take a short on Docu there?
I did actually. Not here, but I did around 3. I don't know. No, right before 3 o'clock. And I got a $9 move on it. So
Nice. I love that picture of the bear behind you. It looks like it's about to take a piece out of your shoulder.
right out of my shoulder there. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
It's been one of those types of days. You get the bear
Yeah.
bite if you weren't
Yeah,
careful.
that's it. Get
You
bitten
were
by the
not
bear.
careful. Tesla back down to 400, 403.
People are saying 370 is a place where Tesla could get back to here.
Who are these people?
Who are these people that are saying that? That's what I want to know.
Those are the people that want to buy it at 370.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're like, yeah,
There's
come
a
on.
moving well, there is a moving average at the 20 period moving average on the daily at 385, which has been its support before. I mean, if you look back for a couple months, right back to April when it started this nice run, it actually this 20 moving average was pretty decent, a decent area to get long.
Yeah. All the way along.
Docu seems to be settling here. All right, looks like the fun is over. Nothing to see here, kids. We'll see. I mean, Zoom. If you remember when Zoom reported it, it jumped up. It settled around 405 or something, and then because I traded it short aftermarket, but it was in sim, and then got a good like $5-6 move from 405 to 399, and I said, oh, I'm just playing around here, so I got out. And then, woke up the next morning and it was opening near 450. So, who knows? So Docu's fine. So don't be surprised if we could show up tomorrow morning and this thing could be at 200 or it could be at 300. Like, I just don't know what to expect.
Yep.
I just took 100 shares short.
No.
Oh. All right. I'm going to cover.
It's a pretty decent move.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got $2 on it.
I'll give you a good $500-600 just like that,
Yep.
and it's still going. Oh, whoa.
Wow,
That was
look at
weird.
it go. Woo!
That was moving out of it.
Yeah. Well, it did look weak after that when it tried to pop up there again. Sort of just pulled right back, went back to the low. That's kind of where I thought there was a good chance it was going to go lower, right at that 248 level.
You were right.
It's going to hold here, I'm guessing, because this is kind of a level of it's had support.
236.
It might pull the rug here. Hard to say. Definitely going to bounce here. Yeah, there's your bounce from that support level.
236 to 239 in 2 seconds. No problem.
Yeah, this is a scary stuff.
Look at this, right back up to 245 now. Yeah,
That's a $10 movement in a minute.
You don't want to overstay your welcome on this.
Wow.
All right, guys. I'll see everyone in the morning. Have a good night.
Yep. Enjoy, Brian. I will see you after Labor Day because it's my wife's birthday tomorrow, so I've been told that I can't trade.
It is.
By the
wow.
boss.
Happy birthday to your wife, and you definitely need to listen to her on that, for sure.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to your wife.
So.
All right. Well, we'll Well, I think it'll be a quiet close, that's for sure, on Friday because of the going into the long weekend. Probably won't be a lot of much happening at that point. So
No.
anyway, we'll catch everyone tomorrow.
Later,
See you
Brian.
guys.
Later, Brian.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day as well. Oh, wait, but it's
Yep.
4:15 already. Let's see. Did we get anything out of Broadcom? AVGO. AVGO. Let's see here. AVG. It did seem to have jumped up here.
Did jump up.
Absolutely no volume.
It has not reported, by the looks of it, or according to Benzinga, on a whopping 5,000 shares.
Yeah, I said it's a big leap, but on no volume, so that's a danger sign. All right, well, then, like I said, probably nothing exciting. Here it is. Here's the numbers. They beat top and bottom line. And the Broadcom stock does absolutely nothing.
Nothing. All right. Everybody out on YouTube, thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Remember, the market is closed on Monday for Labor Day here in the U.S.
Indeed. So we'll see you Tuesday on YouTube. In the room, we'll see you tomorrow.